Winger's Pull album was released May 18th, 1993, and for a band that was acknowledged to be probably the most talented of the genre, the 90s were not fucking kind. From Metallica throwing darts at a poster of Kip Winger, to Stewart from Beavis and Butthead wearing a Winger shirt while constantly being ridiculed, the Pull album ended up disappearing from the charts in no time. But was the ridicule deserved, or did the masses miss out on one of the most underrated albums of the entire fucking scene? Me, Patrick, Ryan, Jones, and Bergie discuss the answer to that question right after this.
The hair metal guru from Warren to Crew. The hair metal guru. Never forget Charlie too.
Welcome to the Hair Metal Guru. My name is Anthony. They call me the Guru. And last week we talked about the Motley Crue 1994 album. But damn it, right up there with that album, of albums that need to be discussed from that time period. The 90s were such a confusing time for the bands and the fans. Yes, it's Winger's Pull from 1993, and we got a big sausage fest to talk about. Lately, it seems like a lot of sausage fests around here. And we got one more piece of sausage. Bergie is back for the attack. Bergie, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. You'll probably kick me off after this one. We'll see.
You might be redeeming yourself with that junkyard shirt that you're wearing. Fucking, that's some kick-ass shit. And right above Bergie, we got Jones, the arbiter of the YouTube channel, hanging with drummer boy Jones. Jones, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, my brother. This is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. This is shameless plug with your interview with Stevie Rochelle. The Holy Trinity on the now deceased message boards was Winger Pull, Warrant Dog Eat Dog, and Motley Crue's 94. Yep. So we're going 2 or 3 tonight. So this is going to be fun.
And speaking of you saying that, like I don't know if everybody hears. Ryan was shitting all over Motley Crue last week, so we'll see if he if he keeps that reputation going. And speaking of Ryan, the lead singer of the band Metalcast, Ryan is back. Ryan, welcome.
Thank you. And you know what? I had a guy on the show say it was his Beatles White Album, okay? And at no point was he angry with me during that entire episode.
That's right.
He said things like, I respect that. I respect that. So to those out there thinking that I hated on it the whole time, I was pretty respectful of the damn thing.
But you should have seen when he was texting us behind the scenes, talking about how big of a fucking asshole you were.
They had to bribe me to come back on tonight, Ron.
Yeah. He's like, Ryan's going to be back? Okay, fine. I'll do it for $10. Venmo me. Okay, good to have Ryan here. And then we got Colonel Patrick, who is wearing an excellent piece of Hair Metal Guru garb. You can find the purchase link for that kind of stuff in the description. Patrick, welcome back to looking good. Patrick, welcome back to the show.
That was the many poses of Patrick. So
okay, so we're gonna get into it. You know, the album comes out in May of '93, and that's, you know, in '92, I feel like we were still hopeful. You know, like Warrant's Dog. You were still like, hey, maybe everything can coexist. I feel like in '93 we were all really starting to go, okay, fuck, something is going wrong here. The album comes out in May, and you know, we haven't talked. I don't know where people's opinions are, but I'll just give you briefly. The album was produced by Kip Winger, along with Mike Shipley. It peaked at number 83 on the Billboard chart. The lead single, Down Incognito, reached number 15, but it dropped like a rock shortly after that single was on the radio. We're going to get into the reasons why. So here's what we're gonna start with where were you with Winger back in the day? They put out the self-titled debut in '88. They put out In the Heart of the Young in 1990. Those are the first 2 albums. So where were you with Winger before Pull comes out? And when we rotate, we're gonna kind of go like this. We're gonna go Jones, Bergie, Ryan, and Patrick. Jones, where were you at with Winger before the Pull album came out?
I was a casual fan. I thought the first record was decent. Second record, I liked it a lot more than the first record, but it still just didn't knock me off my feet. And so, yeah, we'll wait till we get on into it. But yeah, I was a casual Winger fan.
Okay. Bergie, where were you at with Winger?
So I in '88, I probably got their first album, and in '90 their second one. I would say kind of like Jonesy, kind of a casual fan, but I really like the singles grabbed me. I don't remember what the first single was, if it was 17, which you that's a little sketchy these days with the lyrics to that song or whatever, especially being as old as some of us are. Um, Funny, just a quick story about Winger. I saw them in 1990 with Kiss and Slaughter in the Bismarck Civic Center, and the reason I went to that concert, I really did want to see Winger, Slaughter, and Kiss, all three of them. And I wasn't working. I didn't have a job. I just kind of dropped out of college. My dad and I had a conversation about joining the military, and this is how I ended up in the Navy. I actually asked my dad if he would buy me a ticket for that show, and I would join the Navy.
No shit.
No
Wow.
shit. I
Was it
signed
worth it?
up, so the tickets probably went on sale in like June or July, and I had made my decision in summer that I'm dropping out of school and wasn't working for me. I got the tickets. I went down and saw the Navy recruiter, and I joined on a deferred. I forget what they call it, but deferred, so I didn't have to go in right away. And my date was October 24th was the day I joined of 1990.
My
And that
18th
concert-
birthday.
Really?
Yep.
And October, I want to say it was October 2nd. So within 3 weeks of me joining the military, that was the last concert that I went to. And if I remember correctly, Winger opened, then Slaughter, and then Kiss. It was the
Where,
hot and
where
straight.
was that at?
Bismarck Civic Center.
Okay. Because I saw Kiss, Slaughter, and Faster Pussycat.
Yeah, I think Faster Pussycat, I think you probably saw, I think they were on that bill first,
Yeah.
and then they got replaced by
Okay.
Winger.
Okay.
But-
All right.
So, but I loved the first two albums. We'll get into the third one with me later.
Okay. Ryan, where were you at with Winger? Or where are you at? Whatever. Where were you at with
Yeah.
Winger?
Fergie, thank you for your service. Guru, same to you. My dad was in the Navy, so I appreciate you guys very much.
Thank you.
In terms of Winger, I knew of Winger. I was in junior high in 1993, so I was not listening to them. I was listening to AC/DC only. My introduction to Winger was I got the first album in 1997, a tape. Listened to it with my good buddy. Purple Haze was where the cassette was. I ejected it and I fucking threw it out the window of my truck.
What?
I hated it. My buddy picked it up out of his driveway, said, dude, you got to give this another chance. I've been listening to it for like 2 weeks. It's killer. And ever since then, I've been obsessed with all things Winger. Love Winger. I'm there.
Okay. Awesome. Patrick, where you at? Where were you at with the first two albums?
Well, the I have a very bizarre way that I got into it. Is we used to go. I mean, my friends and I were always in record stores, and I had never listened to the Winger records at all. I knew Miles Away because Z100, the pop radio station in Oregon, when I was in like 7th and 8th grade, played the shit out of that song. So I knew Miles Away real well. But I actually got into Winger through a Westwood One radio cassette tape that was a radio promo that had on side A the Warrant Live Dirty Rotten Filthy Stinking Rich VHS was on the audio of it was on side one, and on side two was a Winger live performance featuring like 4 songs, and it had like all the commercials in between, but it was an actual pressed tape by Westwood One that they used for radio stations. So I listened to the shit out of that tape. I knew the Warrant shit already, but I didn't know the Winger stuff at all. And I was like, well, this shit's all really good. And it was all from the first record. So that made me go out and get the actual first tape. And then, of course, naturally, I went and got In the Heart of the Young. And I would say that I liked those first two records, but I wasn't like, oh my God, I just want to fucking run through the streets and tell people how great this is.
Okay. Um, well, I have a bit of a sexual tale that's going to go along with my Winger story, but let me build up to it. I was okay with the first album. Like, I liked Headed for a Heartbreak. I liked Magdalene. 17 was, I was like, and it wasn't that I was like, oh, the lyrics are offensive because I wasn't offended by shit back then. But I was just kind of like, it's good. I don't think, I mean, I know I have the CD now, but I don't think I was rushing out to get that. I mean, I was 16 when that came out, so it's not like I had so much money, and I had, you had to buy your Poisons and your Cinderellas and all that shit. So I don't think I got that album until later on when, you finally have a little bit of money. So I liked it. My problem is, and I think I've said this at various times, bands that were always like uber talented, the extremes, for some in the Wingers, for some reason, I liked some of the singles, but I was always into the simple, the AC/DC ish stuff. And not that a lot of the bands that I liked weren't talented, but Winger were like always looked at as virtuosos, and just for some reason I was just kind of like, hey, I like the singles, but whatever. On In the Heart of the Young, I really did like the can't get enough. What was the other rock single?
Easy come,
Loosen
easy
up.
go.
Easy Come, Easy Go. Those two, I liked those two songs better than any song off the debut. I really liked those. So I got In the Heart of the Young right away. Um, and I fucking love Miles Away. I think that's an amazing ballad. The lyrics were great. Fucking kind of breaks my heart. But again, I didn't really dig in deeper beyond like the singles. I mean, I listened to it, but outside of the singles right now, I'm like, fuck, what were the other songs I like? I really can't remember. I feel kind of bad saying that. So, without getting into Pull, I was kind of like you a fair weather fan. Like, but in the summer of 1990, I think it was. Yes, the summer in, maybe it was the summer in 91. Anyway, I went on this Lutheran church trip, and there was this girl from Rutland. Her name was Tammy, and we kind of fooled around on that trip. And anyway, Winger played the Red River Valley Fair. I think it was the summer of 1991, and Tammy from Rutland, North Dakota, came and hung out with me, and we did the horizontal mambo right before going to say Winger. So I'll always have fond memories of Winger because of that. Tammy, if you're still out there, I haven't seen you in a long time, but hey, what's up? You're awesome. So, with that, that is us talking about where we were with Winger before Pull comes out. Now, in 1993, I can't remember exact. I think it's a month, maybe 2 months before Pull comes out, we start hearing the first single, Down Incognito. Where were you at with that single? And I think we'll just kind of reverse order. Patrick, where were you at when you first heard Down Incognito?
I was in Metal Shop, and we used to have the radio on in Metal Shop, and it was the beginning of my sophomore year or middle of sophomore year of high school. And I remember the DJ saying, that's the new one from Winger, Down Incognito. And I was like, well, that song fucking kicked ass. So I fucking went out and bought the record because of that song. So.
Right. Okay. Ryan, right, and Ryan, I get like if you didn't start listening to it later, but when you hear, what are your feelings on Down Incognito, whether you heard it then or not?
No, I don't think I heard it then, but the progression from I did follow the progression of the first album. Loved it. Second album, loved it. Had to get the third, and I really enjoyed that. I really enjoy that song, Down Incognito. I love it live as well.
Okay, Berkey, where were you at with when you heard Down Incognito?
Honestly, I don't remember the first time I heard it. Well, obviously, we're going to get into the whole album a little bit,
Yep.
and I'm going to have a little bit of a different perspective about it. Maybe not a great one, but I had never listened to that entire album until just very, very, very recently. But that was the only song on the album that I knew. I cannot for the life of me remember where I first heard it, and I don't think it was right away when it first came out in '93. But when I listened to the album again, obviously I knew that one, and I swear that I heard it on a TV show or a movie, but I couldn't find anything that says that was ever in a soundtrack or anything anywhere. But no, I don't know. I
Okay.
don't know where I first heard it,
All right.
but I love it.
You're right. You're probably not going to be invited back on.
Well, that's
Just
fair.
fucking with you. Just fucking with you. Jones, where were you at? Do you remember hearing the single and what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I can't remember the first time I heard it. I'm just like you guys, and Anthony, I echo your comments on the first two records. I mean, what you were saying is spot on, the exact same way I felt. And just to go back just a little, wasn't the two songs that they had that the record company wanted them because they still didn't hear a single
Yes.
off the second record is the two songs that was the videos that
Yep.
I'm just like you was the best songs on the record to me.
Yep.
But I'm going to say it was Headbangers Ball. On Saturday nights, we had all, we as teenagers riding around, at the time riding around drinking beer and but at 10:30 it was time to go home and watch Headbangers Ball. And I'm almost positive that's where I heard it first. And yeah, I was blown away. It was fantastic. Like I said, very casual fan, but when I heard that, I was like, "Ooh, this is something pretty special."
Remarkably, Down Incognito was being played on Q98 out of Fargo, North Dakota. And if you're like me, like in those years, you kept waiting for a sign that our music wasn't dead. So you're like, oh shit. Well, maybe it was just a minor blip. And now they're playing the Winger single and maybe they'll start playing everything else. And the genre will survive and it'll coexist along, well, we all know what happened. But it comes on rock radio. And I'm like, holy fuck, this is pretty fucking good. Was I ready to commit that, oh, this is, I wasn't sure if I thought it was better than, the two rock singles from In the Heart of the Young, Can't Get Enough and all that shit. But I was like, this is solid. And I was like, okay, I'm definitely going. And in 93, 94, I was buying all the records from those bands because I despised grunge so much. I wasn't out buying that shit. Every time a band from back in the day, your Every Mother's Nightmares, your Lillian Axes, your Warrants, whatever it was, even Bon Jovi and Motley and everything, I was fucking rushing out the day of because I felt such a sense of loyalty to those bands for being there for me all through high school that I was like, well, at least they're getting fucking one purchase on day one. So I bought the shit out of all of that, including Pull right away. But I thought Down Incognito was a really solid first single that made me pumped to get the album.
Anthony, you said it earlier in another conversation we had, but my recollection, at least in Portland, Oregon, on KUFO was that was in heavy rotation.
Yeah.
I mean, I was hearing it every few hours, and
Yes.
my friends would always laugh because that beginning harmonica sounded like the intro to the television show Roseanne
Oh yeah.
with the fucking harmonica. And so everybody's like, oh, it's the Roseanne song. And I was like, oh shit, no, dude, fucking listen to it. It's fucking badass.
Yeah.
So, but it was on in heavy rotation in
Yes.
our area.
And you would have those occasional hits. Shit, I remember was it Dokken Dysfunctional
Yeah, Too
What
High to
was the
Fly.
first? Was it Too High to Fly?
Yeah, that was in heavy rotation too.
That was being played all the time on Q98 in Fargo. You're like fucking Dawkins in '95
Yeah.
with a hit record or a hit song. Same thing with Winger. So now we're gonna get into this, and I got to give Patrick credit because Patrick was the one who reminded me. I mean, everyone knows about Beavis and Butthead and Stewart, but the album pull comes out in May. The single Down Incognito comes out, a month or two, probably a month in advance. So probably April of '93. Well, Beavis and Butthead debuted 2 months before the album came out, but Stewart didn't make an appearance until June, right?
Yeah.
June of '93, which is when that single was starting to gain momentum. And like Patrick reminded me, that fucking single disappeared when Stewart came out with that fucking shirt. So we'll go in and it doesn't have to be, but what do you remember about Beavis and Butthead coming in and did you like it? And what were your thoughts about like Stewart and what they were doing, what they were doing to the bands that we liked? And I'll try to mix up these. If I fuck it up, let me know. But Ryan, let's start off with you. Were you watching Beavis and Butthead at that time? Like, what did you think about their impact on music?
Yeah, kind of like Bergie's different perspective over his recency with this album. I have a different perspective because I was, 12 when this was going on. And when you're 12 and you show up to school in the wrong shit, you're going to fucking hear about it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like Beavis and Butthead, that kid coming in his Winger shirt, that's exactly what you don't want to do in real life. So, you show up to school in a Adrenalized shirt when Nirvana's hitting, it's like you're going to get made fun of, and it's unfortunate. So I loved the show. I thought it was hilarious, and they'd occasionally show, the Big Gun video and this and that, and it was killer. And it was all the rage. It was on all the time. After school, we'd check it out, and that was that. So that's my perspective. I don't really remember much other than knowing that kid was a nerd, and they picked on him. And I do remember him wearing that shirt, which is unfortunate.
Ryan forgot to mention that another aspect of him being 12 was that every 13 minutes he was asking to go to the bathroom during class so he could go masturbate.
13 minutes.
That thing.
Much less.
It's okay, Ryan. It's okay, Ryan, because Bergie still does that now. Okay. Speaking of Bergie, what do you remember about Beavis and Butthead getting started and how it was impacting music?
So I remember watching Beavis and Butthead when it first came out, and the Winger shirt thing with Stewart. I mean, I laughed. I did. I thought it was funny. Winger always had this kind of, Kip's a pretty boy. He was a ballet dancer. He always had the, for lack of a better word, fruity moves on stage and things like that. So they were easy pickings, I guess, for Beavis and Butthead. But I would bet Mike Judge probably never listened to Winger. He probably never gave it a chance. I have probably 100 black rock band T-shirts, and I don't have a Winger one, but I can see like exactly what Ryan said. Back in '93, if you loved Winger, you probably weren't putting one of the Winger T-shirts on and going to school because you didn't want to get made fun of. I think Beavis and Butthead had a Metallica shirt and an AC/DC shirt, if I remember right, and they were just a little more harder edged. And I mean, I laughed. I did. I laughed at the show a little bit. And watching it now, like going back and watching it now, it's really dumb, for the most part. And they have new episodes out too, so I have checked some of those out. You get. Back in the day, they had videos spliced in, and I think Ryan had kind of mentioned this, and they'd play some cool videos, and Beavis would change it, Butthead, this sucks, or whatever. And that would be when a Winger video came on,
I'm sorry to interrupt. What did it made more sense? To have put like a pop act on Stewart's shirt.
Yeah,
You
Britney.
know, like every we all fucking. I mean, I was making fun of like boy band. Wouldn't it have made more sense for him to be wearing like a New Kids on the
New
Block
Kids on the
shirt
Block.
or some shit
Yep.
instead of a Winger shirt? It really, I mean, that
Yeah.
just seemed like a more natural fit.
It was almost like the Stewart was trying to fit in with a rock
Yeah.
band t-shirt
Yes,
like the other boys.
you're exactly
And
right.
of course they made fun of his winger, but
You're exactly right. Jonesy, where were you at with Beavis and Butthead and what they were doing in '93 or with the scene?
So this one, guys, I am really torn about because when I grew up in high school, and me and Anthony's the same age, I graduated in '90, and I wore my hair metal on my sleeve every day at school. I had a Warrant, a Motley Crue, a Poison T-shirt on all the time. And we had at the time at my school, you had your what they called the glam fags. Sorry, it's not PC. And then you had the thrash, whatever you want to call it. You had your Metallica, Megadeth crowd, and we was the glam haters, or they hated us.
Yep.
Which was stupid, anyways. But so I loved. So in '93, when that was, I proudly wore my Poison, Pearl Jam and all that was out. I proudly, and here's where I guess I'm torn. I love Metallica. And now, now I love all those Anthrax, Megadeth, Pantera, love all that stuff. And I thought Beavis and Butthead was the funniest shit I've ever seen. I still watch it to this day. I like Bergie said, I watch the new episodes. I've got the box sets on DVD. I love it. I didn't really think that much about it, but yeah, it destroyed Winger, and Winger. It pissed me off for Winger.
Yeah.
At the time I was like, Lars is such a dick. I mean, why did they do that? Lars, and it was just a bullshit move by them, and and then like you said with the video and Beavis wearing Stewart wearing the shirt, it's just a cheap shot, but like you said, it took them plumb off the radio. It destroyed. Honestly, I think that single-handedly destroyed Winger's career. I mean, the grunge was coming; it was going away anyways, but it sped it up quite a bit.
it still doesn't make sense that that show was so popular that it could cross over and hurt a musical act like Winger.
Yeah.
It baffles me that that was popular enough to do that to Winger, but it did.
Yeah.
Patrick, where were you at with Beavis and Butthead?
Well, Bergie set me up perfectly with this last little piece that it baffled him, because if you think about it, I was the age group of that demographic. So, here I am in my sophomore year of high school. I love the shit out of my glam bands. Here I am, the glam fag.
And he still is.
Yeah, still am, right? So, and
Their sausage parties.
yes, I'm the one who invites the sausage group.
That's right.
So, here I am loving this stuff, and this Beavis and Butthead stuff comes out, and I'm with Jonesy. I thought it was fucking hilarious. But what month did we say that this debuted with Stewart?
June of
June.
93.
Okay. April is Nothing Else Matters comes out, which has the Metallica video with them throwing darts at Kip.
Yep.
So it's dominoes falling against this band. And I think that if that happened to somebody today, they'd probably be more likely to sue for libel, because it did kill a career. Paul Taylor had already left Winger by the time Pull comes out. So, I think he saw the writing on the wall and left. And I remember thinking to myself, jokingly, like Ryan said, you don't wear an Adrenalize shirt to school. Oh, fuck. I kept my CD binder in my bag, and I went like this when I went through it, because I didn't need the heckling from the Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, STP people.
It was different. Like when Jonesy said he graduated in 90 and I graduated in 89. In 89 and 90, those bands were still cool. There was no
Oh yeah.
grunge. You know, you were one of the cool kids if you had a Poison shirt on in '87.
Oh, I
To
walked
me,
into high school and it was do not talk about your music,
yeah,
especially
right.
in the Pacific Northwest where it was fucking
Was
a
was
hotbed.
was there ever a time, I don't remember, but when music was so decisive
No.
that if you liked this, you could not like that? I'd never seen that in my life, which I still hadn't seen it, but damn, it was
Well, I think, in the disco era, I mean, like when disco fell, that was almost similar to hair metal. Like,
Yeah,
remember there was a baseball game where they had Disco Sucks Night and everybody bought disco records and
huh?
disco was so massive when Saturday Night Fever came out, and a few years later everybody was shitting on disco. Now it's pretty
Good
easy
point.
to shit on disco, but I feel like that is similar to
Yeah,
what happened with hair metal.
good point. Very
And
good.
and and is it because hair metal was so fucking big? It dominated for close to 10 years. I mean, kind of, started basically in 81, really got huge in 83 when Quiet Riot went to number one. It's not like, it was number one on the charts all the time, but it was competing with your Michael Jacksons and your Whitney Houstons, and it was massive. And yeah, the fucking backlash reminded me of the fucking disco backlash. Like Patrick said, you did not want to come to fucking school and go, all right, here's my Poison shirt in 93 or 94. You didn't want to do that. And
I
I'm
will
like you
say
guys.
though that
Oh,
by like 95, 96, people who were like me got tired of hiding it and
oh yeah.
fucking just wore what we were gonna fucking
Yeah.
wear. And by that time, didn't really get much shit for it anymore.
Yeah. Um, I loved Beavis and Butthead. We thought I was a sophomore in college when it came out. We used to sit around fucking well, I was out of the dorms by then, sit around and fucking watch the shit out of that and laugh. But I also remember thinking every time they would shit on a hair metal band that I loved, I'd just be like, what the fuck? Like, why? Like, that song rules or that band is awesome. Why do
yeah,
you gotta shit on them? Even though, I was like, we fucking all loved Beavis and Butthead. And I, when Stewart wore that shirt, I wasn't, like I said, I was kind of whatever on the first two Winger albums, but I was also like, hey, quit fucking with our genre. It was like it was almost like you know, don't fuck with your kid brother. Like to me, Poison and Skid Row and Warrant, they were like the big dogs. And, probably wrongly, but I was like, hey, even though Winger isn't up there with them, like quit fucking with my people. These are my people. And you like to think, or, I think we used to think, oh, well, I'm not impacted by what I see on TV. I remember when I was teaching some kid going, I'm not impacted by ads or shit. And I'm like, well, somebody is because trends of what we wear and all that shit constantly change. If we weren't impacted by ads, we'd all still be wearing Oshkosh Bagosh overalls and whatever people were wearing in the 50s, but we've obviously been impacted by trends. So when Beavis and Butthead come out, yeah, I'm sure, and I never hid my love for hair metal, like the music, but I bet in 93, 94, I probably had put my Warrant and Poison shirts in the closet, probably wasn't wearing them around campus because you just didn't do that back then. It was also like I never liked grunge, but I started wearing flannel shirts. I started growing some facial hair, and that's what was in. And you always wanted to feel like you were in. That was how, girls liked people who were in and shit. So I wanted to be into, I loved Beavis and Butthead, but even if I didn't say it out loud to people, I was always like, what, quit fucking with my bands. you know? And so, and I if I get the chance to interview somebody from, and I'm sure it's been asked, but I want the honest, heartfelt answer of, were you devastated when fucking that Stewart character, maybe you thought right away, like, oh, maybe it's not that big a deal. And you realized pretty quickly it was a pretty big fucking deal. I would love to hear that honest, heartfelt answer, not just the, oh, whatever. I would like to, because I imagine they had to have been like, what the fuck? Why us?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Anyway,
Yeah.
so I hope somebody from Winger will come on at some point, Reb or whatever. Okay. So we got through the first single. We talked about basically what killed the album in the minds of the masses and of the radio programmers. But as fans, do you think the album held up with what they did in the earlier years? Do you think it surpassed their first two albums? Let's get into our thoughts on Pull. And if you want to go, if you remember getting it and your reaction as you started to get into it. And Jones, let's start with you. What did you think when you got the Pull album?
Yeah, when I got it, I thought it was fantastic. I loved it. Opening up Blind Revolution Mad when it started, and I was like, this is sort of odd. Usually a opening song punches you right in the face, and it was like, oh, but it got there. And when it punched you, to me, it punched me hard, and I love that song, Down Incognito. I mean, I think this is Warrant Winger's best album. I mean, it's it's still not my favorite album ever by no means, but it's a solid 7 out of 10, maybe 8 out of 10.
Okay.
I seen them on that tour. They played Nashville at a place called 328 Performance Hall, little 800 seater, and it was amazing.
How was the attendance?
Yeah.
It was full. It was full. Yeah.
But 800 people, I mean, compared to what they were drawing, it's cool that it was a sold out club.
Yeah.
But damn it, 800 people for Winger. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah. And that's, and Winger, I've always sort of teeter-tottered because I'm not a prog metal guy. I'm not very progressive. Winger is skirting a very fine line of progressive because musicianship's outstanding. Yeah. I mean, they are amazing players, all of them. And but on this record, I think they went a little more, like one of you guys was saying earlier, a little more raw. And I'm like you guys. I like my rock simple. I like 3 chords and a good banger, and I think they tried to do a little bit more of that on this one, maybe. And songwriting's incredible. Production was incredible. Yeah, it's by far my favorite Winger album. However, without jumping ahead, the latest Winger 7, is really good too.
And when we do this, like, feel free. I mean, you kind of did. Feel free to, hey, what your favorite songs are, or whatever the songs that you have grabbed you the most.
Oh, and I'm sorry. My favorite song on the record, Junkyard Dog. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah. Okay. Bergie, what do you think? And you just listened, so you have a new perspective, which is kind of cool to have. Bergie, what do you think?
So, quick story about how I almost ended up with this album. And it was like Patrick had mentioned, and he in '93 you were in high school still, and hiding your shirts and whatever. There was a brief period, probably between '93 and '95. Guru said it, where you were dressing a little different, growing facial hair a little different, just to kind of fit in with the times. There was just a brief minute where I questioned whether, like, all the hair metal cassettes that I had on the wall were of enough substance. Maybe was there something more that I was missing with, maybe not grunge, but just heavier rock, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it was just very fleeting, and not far after it had to be between 93 and 95 where now I'm seeking out as much hair metal as I can find. I'm back in it totally 100%. That's what I like. That's what I need. I got to go find it. So I'm at the record store, and I think by that time, CDs, I was buying CDs. I think the very first CD I bought was Dr. Feelgood, Motley Crue. I'm in there, budget music tapes, but yeah, budget music and video, I think it was called. And they had their CD racks alphabetical by genre. So they had rock and country and whatever. So, and I think they even had like a metal section. So I'm flipping through the metal section trying to find something. And it probably was 94, 95. I didn't know about Winger Pull. I know I'd heard that song, and it probably was the Down Incognito. It was probably on local radio. Maybe I didn't even know who it was.
He's from Minot, North Dakota, so you have to understand they just got indoor plumbing like last year, so
Right.
it's a little bit behind the times. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Just
He's
right
got
before
lights in his house. So.
right before Fargo did. But anyway, so I'm going through A to Z, and I'm trying to find as much hair metal as I can. And I had one or two picked out, and that's probably all I could afford. By the time I got to W, I pulled out Winger's Pull out of the rack. And I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at the cover of it, and I'm wondering if this is the same Winger, because the logo's different. The album cover doesn't look anything like the first two. I look at the back to see if I recognize any songs, and of course, Down Incognito's on there. And I'm like, I think this is Winger, the Winger that I know and kind of like. I put it back. I kept going. I got all the way to XYZ. I put that back too. And I took and went and bought the two that I had in my hand or whatever, and that was it. Never gave this album a second thought. I've heard the song Down Incognito a million times. Patrick invites me to be on the show, and I'm like, great, I got some homework. So since then, I've listened to this album every day. I've probably listened to it 4 or 5 or 6 times, and I'm in awe. I made a bad decision at Budget Music and Video that day by not taking that to the counter and paying for it,
Okay.
because it is a great album. There are some standouts for me. I think it's funny that with the whole Stewart thing with the Winger, and the Winger was kind of a softie, and they made fun of Stewart for wearing the Winger shirt. There's some hard stuff on this album. When you listen to, I think it's Junkyard Dog.
Yeah.
When that song starts out, is it Junkyard Dog, or what's the song before that? I think it's Junkyard Dog that
Like a ritual.
sounds like a Megadeth riff to start out with.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay. And I'm like, damn. And like you said, Jonesy, about Blind Revolution Mad, when I I popped this in to do my homework and listen to this album, right away I'm like, I'm not gonna like this. It takes 2 minutes for that song to start kicking in. And then I'm like, And then on second, third, fourth, fifth lesson, I'm singing along. I'm loving every minute of it. Yeah, so that, I think this is better than their first 2 albums. I do think this is a better album overall. You mentioned it, Guru, about, Madeleine and 17 and Miles Away on the second album. Beyond that, Purple Haze kind of sucked for a Jimi Hendrix cover on that first album, so I can see throwing it out the window, Ryan. But beyond the singles, I was like a kind of a casual fan, but I enjoyed them live in concert that time I saw them, and I missed the boat on this one.
Okay.
Junkyard Dog's one of my favorites. In My Veins, I really like.
Yep.
Junkyard Dog. The Lucky One's a kind of a nice ballad. At the end, Who's the One reminds me of a little bit of These Days, Bon Jovi era type song. But yeah, great album.
Okay.
Can't believe I missed it all these years.
All right. Ryan, where you at with the poll?
Well, I just want to start by saying Winger for me is a huge one for me. I love all things first 3 albums of Winger. Like the 1988 episode I did on 80s Glam Metal Cast, they were number 1 of 1988.
Okay.
I love the self-titled.
Wow.
The 93 episode, they were number 6. The 1990 mixtape on Brian's show, I was allowed 2 coveted ballad spots on out of 10 songs, and Miles Away was right next to my favorite ballad, Angel Eyes. I mean, this is a band that, per Tom Werman, when he needed help in the studio, he called those guys. He said they were the best studio musicians he's ever had, the entire band. So, I mean, that says something. But I will say this. These guys were, Pull was the perfect natural progression that only a handful of other bands with the magic 3 albums achieved. Warrant, White Lion, Europe, Danger Danger, House of Lords, Britney Fox, Hurricane, Icon, and Lillian Axe. Those bands had 3 scorchers in a row. But after that, I will say this, and it's funny, Jones mentioned that the latest one. Winger they go into the falsehood of getting harder in the 2000s. And what I want to say about that is we don't need Winger doing their best impression of Metallica. I bang my head harder to Hanging On than anything after the Pull album. They don't need to get harder. Their harder shit should have topped off at that riff on Junkyard Dog you guys are talking about. That's a melodic riff. That's a metal riff with elements of melodic rock still in there, and it works really, really well. Yep. They lost that in the 2000s, and it's exactly the same with Europe. They should have topped off with, as hard as they should have got, is Ready or Not. We don't need your Talica. We don't need your Talica, however you want to make that one. It's this weird, frantic thing that bands have going on now. And it's like all these bands that are coming out with the new material from the heyday. There's too much going on in the background. Yeah. It's the layered, laced keyboards that are always buzzing. And you're like, ugh, and it's like, there's something there. It's too frantic. And what you're saying, Jonesy, about like the rawness of Pull being what you like, there's no frantic shit in there like there is on every new band trying to be 80s or every 80s band trying to be hard. They didn't have that shit in the background. They had the melodic AC/DC, don't fuck around riffs that everyone preached. And I swear to God, dude, I bang my head harder to anything off of the first 3 albums than anything beyond that. But
everybody needed, sorry to interrupt, everybody needed to get Mutt Lange in the studio to teach them how to let those riffs breathe and to slow them down like he did with Def Leppard, like he did with AC/DC. Everybody was always like, oh, we got to go faster and heavier. And he's like, wait a minute, slow that riff down. And suddenly you have, Def Leppard's Let It Go or Def Leppard's Photograph instead of the shit that, no offense, was on the first Def Leppard album that was always, which I like, but anyway, I completely get what you're saying. They started getting too frantic later on because it was like, I gotta be heavy because then I won't be a pussy that's on a Stewart shirt and Beavis Butthead,
Yeah, but it's just this misnomer that these guys have these days that they have to be hard. And it's like, dude, you forgot where you came from. You forgot that your melodies were what grabbed us along with your shredding riffs. And they're kind of absent. But in terms of this album, In My Veins, the guitar solo, Into the Breakdown, the chorus is epic. Spell I'm Under, they got away with one there because it's kind of like a ripping ballad, which is kind of weird. It's like a hard ballad, which I love. Junkyard Dog, drum pattern, it's expert drumming. No Man's Land, the kick in into the verse, and then that like really relaxed chorus into that the pre-chorus into that huge chorus is epic. Like a Ritual was great, experimental, and the immediate vocal kick in both this and Blind Revolution Mad is genius. I love how Kip just comes in right away. I think it's awesome. And then Who's the One is just, you can't top that one. So there's a lot of good standouts on this thing.
Yeah, I really love the beginning of that, like a Ritual song.
And real quick, they didn't need a cover on the first album, dude. Purple, I mean, now I kind of like the song, but like they didn't need it. It was Kip and Reb, dude. They're like the John and Richie. Like they don't need a cover. I don't know why they did that. They had so many songs. I mean, listening to their old demos, they had a lot of good shit that they left off. So Purple Haze.
Right. Patrick, Pull, what do you think?
My buddy bought it before I did, and so I wound up with a cassette tape copy of it. I listened to it nonstop. But I'd never heard anything like Blind Revolution Mad to kick off a record. And I totally understand why Bergie was like kind of going, "Oh, I ain't gonna like this. Just wait 2 minutes because it fucking whoops your ass when it gets going." And I just thought it was such a mature record. It was so good. But honestly, Ryan kind of alluded to it. There's some incredible background vocals in these songs that are so subtle, but they hit so hard. Nobody could ever doubt that Kip and Reb are, like you said, John and Richie. Like they write so well together. Even the Dokken record that Reb Beach wound up on was fucking fantastic. And I love this record. I'll surprise you a little bit. The only song that I don't like on it is In My Veins. And that's the only song I don't like.
Yeah.
And it's not like I sit there and go like, "Oh, it fucking is terrible." It's not. It's just if I had the choice to skip it, I'd skip it. But I love this record. Like a Ritual is probably my favorite song on that record. That thing just smokes. I will never forgive Beavis and Butthead for this, because this record, like I said, in my area, it was on the radio all the time. If this had had another 2 or 3 months of that being on the radio, I guarantee they would have played a second single on it. And this record could have gone really big in other markets. It's a tragedy because it deserves all the accolades. It truly is in that, perfect triangle of albums of the 90s between Motley 94, this, and Dog Eat Dog. I mean, I don't think there's any other records that are in the conversation than those three for the best albums of the 90s right there.
I bought it right away because I really liked Down Incognito. I think I bought it and kind of set it aside. But I had a roommate in college who also liked the same kind of shit. And he would always, play my music because I was always the one buying all the CDs. So he's playing it and he's like, "Holy shit, this record fucking rules." And I'm like, okay, I better start listening to it. And, because it was like Motley Crue 94 was a grower for me. I didn't get that one right away. I got Dog Eat Dog right away, but Dog Eat Dog is the perfect fucking record. So, so sit on it for a little while, start listening to it, and then you're like, wait a minute, hold on. Well, obviously, Down Incognito was great. Blind Revolution Mad, that acoustic intro and the kicks in is fucking amazing. Spell I'm Under is kind of close to a ballad. Fantastic. That riff in Junkyard Dog, I fucking love. It has thrash elements to it, but like Ryan said, it's also melodic. The song is also melodic with this kind of thrash riff. The Lucky One is damn near a ballad. It's great. I'm also not really into In My Veins. It's okay. And I'm kind of In for the Kill is solid. It's not one of my favorite songs, but No Man's Land is great. Like a Ritual is fantastic. And Who's the One? The last track, that ballad. What a fucking ending. I love that song. So basically, I'm all in on 8 out of the 10 songs. And you guys talked about the triumvirate. Try spelling that, you dumb bastards. Just kidding. It's Winger's best album. It's up there. Well, it's not. It's up there with, I see why people put it near Dog Eat Dog, Motley Crue 94. Yes, it deserves that place for those, because it was an album that aged well into the 90s. It didn't abandon like the earlier melodic sensibility, but it incorporated the best parts of what grunge had into what they had already been good at and did it phenomenally well. And I'll just add this. Yes, you have those three: MC94, Warrant, and Winger. But I add Lillian Axe Psycho Schizophrenia to that. It's a fucking amazing album. And you might shit, but I think I've said this before. 1993 also had another great one, and I bet Jonesy knows what I'm going to talk about. Every Mother's Nightmare. Wake Up Screaming. Fucking A, that thing is great. So I say those five are the albums in 92, 93, 94 that I always tell people you got to go revisit that shit. And that's me not adding Warrant's Ultraphobic because I already have Warrant's Dog Eat Dog on it. So, Pull is a fantastic album. If you have, and I did a review, I think I did a review on the Winger box set. It was kind of just basic, just had the vinyl albums, but it was pretty cheap. So you can get it on vinyl in a box set. So with that, anybody have any and I'll just throw it out there. I bought the Winger 4 album when I was at some military training, I think in I can't remember where. And I was like, what the fuck is this? So I'll be honest, I haven't really done much. Like people talk about the Winger 7 album. I haven't listened to a whole lot of Winger since that 4 album came out, and I was so disappointed.
Yeah, the 4
I
was.
think the Winger didn't age outside of those perfect three that Ryan, says I'm a huge Winger fan of the first three. I think that Winger 4 album, I was so excited for it, and then it came out and I was like, there is nothing listenable here.
Yeah.
There is just nothing grabs me by the nuts and squeezes till they crunch, like it's just nothing fucking happens here.
I don't think you want that.
I want
I
Kip
do.
to squeeze
I do.
until they crunch. But it just didn't go anywhere. And then what was the one they did with the soldier on the cover?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that 4?
Was that maybe that was 4? Yeah. And then they did another one and a live album and the demos record. And it was just like it was Winger overkill a little bit. It was just too much Winger and not any of it that was memorable. So it just kind of let me down. I've only seen Winger once, and I saw them on the Poison tour in 2002 with Faster Pussycat and Cinderella. And I got to say, it was very strange because Kip came out in a giant arena that was full by himself, with his little headset and an acoustic, and he just did an acoustic set. And I was kind of like, what are you doing, dude? Like, rock. No. And he opened with an acoustic version of Blind Revolution Mad. Now, I'll give him credit. It fucking kicked ass.
Yeah.
But I was like, if you're trying to sell some records, man, this isn't going to be the way to do it, buddy.
No. Does anybody have any opinions or like, hey, after Pull, this is the album from Winger that you should get if you have one that you legitimately stand behind and open it up?
I'll say this. Right before we started shooting, Ryan brought up the outtake song from the Japanese version, Hell to Pay, on that, and that's on the very best of Winger. And I think if you have that, if you're not, there's a lot of songs from Pull on that album. If you are watching this and you don't know a shit about Winger, well, you're probably not watching it. But if you pick up that album, that has the very best of Winger, and that song Hell to Pay does kick ass. I can't believe it didn't make the album.
Okay. Anybody else have an album recommendation after Pull?
I like I said earlier, I think the new one, 7, is really, really good.
Okay.
I agree with you guys. I wasn't much on anything after Pull until 7, and I thought it was good. I've actually seen them a couple times in the past 3 years. I've seen them at Monsters on the Mountain up in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, at the little hairband festival they do up there. And then they was at the Ryman last year they opened for Tom Kiefer, and John Corabi opened up for them. Okay. And that's fantastic. I do want to just real quick, me and my wife, I don't know if you probably can't even see that, but there we go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we did get to meet them. I mean, I'm like you. I try my best to do anything I can to support these bands that are still out there. meet and greets was $100, and I was like, absolutely, So I took your box set, your vinyl box set that you was talking about. I took it, and they signed every one of them, and super nice guys. And like you've said several times, go see them because they're not going to be around much longer, and they're still out there. So do your best to go support this stuff.
Are they still? Because I thought they were done, but then I keep seeing, oh, here Winger has a show. I thought Winger was done playing shows.
I thought they were retiring. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You're right. I don't know if they're still out there, but I know they've said that they're wrapping it up. Yeah.
But you're right, Jones. I think they do have shows coming up still. So I had thought I heard they were retiring a while back, and then all of a sudden I see this. Oh, hey, Winger is going to be playing, and I'm like, okay. So I just saw him a year or two ago in Fargo, and I mean, obviously the band is uber talented. So
Yeah.
Kip's got a great voice, and I remember like he came out with that quote. He's like, "Yeah, Metallica, whatever they threw darts at my poster, but I wiped the floor with James as a singer, wiped the floor with Kirk as a guitar player, and I banged more chicks than all of Metallica combined, or something like that, or whatever it was."
Yeah.
So
Kip
He's
had
still
a
in the
pretty-
truth, I'd say.
Kip had a pretty rough go. I mean, obviously, Pole tanked, and 3 years later, his wife was killed in a car accident,
Yeah.
Beatrice. And then, I will say he did do a solo album that was called This Conversation Seems Like a Dream. And I fucking love that record. It is fantastic. It is not a hair metal record by any, means, but it's good stuff. And the guy also got nominated for a Grammy for an orchestral album he did. So the guy's going to be successful at whatever he does.
right.
He's put on several. He works with the Nashville Symphony here.
Yeah.
I've really wanted to go check it out because I enjoy that kind of stuff too. So,
Okay. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of our discussion about the Winger Pull album and whether it matched the greatness of other great albums of that period and whether it deserved all the shit that it got. With that, it's time to say goodbye to our roundtable members. Jones from Hanging with Drummer Boy Jones. Everybody, make sure you go like and go subscribe to that channel. Thanks for coming on, man.
thanks, guys. This is always a treat. I appreciate you inviting me, and nobody said this one sucked tonight. So
Yeah. I thought Ryan was going to shit all over it. I honestly did. It's kind
this
of
is fun.
next time. Whatever album we do next time, we got to find somebody to shit on it. If it's, oh, I won't say. I know we have some albums that we're thinking about doing. So anyway, Bergie, it's great to have you back. It's been a while, but good to have you back.
It's awesome to be back on. Thank you for having me so much. And I just want to say congratulations on all your success. And I don't want to jinx anything, but you're only 100 or so subscribers away from that 10,000 mark.
Yeah.
I think by the time you edit this, you'll be there. So let me be the first to say congratulations on 10,000 subscribers.
Thank you. I appreciate. Yeah. Fuck. I don't know if we'll be there when this. I'm going to try to get this out Friday, the 17th. It is Wednesday, the 15th. But
It'll be damn close.
all you guys for all your help throughout the 2 years. Thank you. So, Ryan, lead singer of Metalcast, who's been rolling in the dough with all his fucking publishing money. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you. And look out soon for a new Metalcast song coming out.
Ooh.
So got one in the works. And I actually I let my balls drop on this one a little bit, and I stopped being squeaky Vince Neil, and I started to try to be a little bit more Janie dog eat dog on this one. And remember also, for all you haters out there of a man doing ballet, pretty sure Jerry Rice and Lynn Swan did some ballet training in there. So
That's
feel
right.
free to talk shit to those guys. But thank you very much. It was great.
That's right. And I just had a buddy message me on X. He's like, dude, he listens to Hair Metal Mansion on Rock 101 KLOL every Saturday. And he said, dude, can you play some Metalcast for me? And I said, dude, you got it coming up. So Metalcast be on Hair Metal Mansion this Saturday, the Saturday, what is it, the 19th or 18th, whatever this Saturday is. So, all right.
Cool. Thank you.
Very
Colonel
cool.
Patrick, as always, who does so much. And somebody asked me, somebody goes on X the other day after I said I had interviewed fucking Tom Werman, the producer, and he goes, dude, how do you do it? And I said, you got to fucking talk to Patrick because that guy, I can never thank him enough for everything he
A
does.
lot of sexual favors.
That lot of handies. When you don't
Plus
see
handies.
my hand, it's handies. So thanks for coming on, man, and thank you again for everything you do for the channel.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's the best fucking channel on YouTube.
Yep.
No offense, no offense. No
Jonesy.
offense.
I love the basement and the garage too. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, head in the description. You're gonna see the link for Hair Metal Mansion, which is every Saturday from 6 to 8 on Rock 101 KLOL. That's 6 to 8 Central Time. You'll find the link to Hair Metal Guru merch, and fucking Patrick was wearing a Hair Metal Guru hoodie. Show that thing off there. You could be wearing that. We have zip up hoodies, regular hoodies like that. We have men's or women's t-shirts, and so I appreciate anything that you do with that. Hey, like, subscribe, what the hell, ring the bell. Go in the comments. Let us know what you think of Winger's Pull album. Was it a shit show or completely underrated? And hey, whatever you can do to support the channel, I just appreciate you being here. Until the next video comes out, my name is Anthony. They call me the Guru. Take care of yourselves.